Alright, what's up everybody? We're back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 players that are having really good, underrated seasons. Seasons that I feel like not a lot of people are talking about. And yeah, just watching some of these teams playing stuff, these 5 guys have really stuck out to me and being like, wow, these guys are actually improved. They're playing really, really good right now. We're going to talk about that today. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, and also like that. I really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. Links to my Twitter, TikTok, stuff like that in the description down below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. The first player we're going to be talking about is an obvious one, but honestly, I just really want to talk about him. Lamelo Ball. I know it might not be underrated maybe anymore, but still, I feel like people should be talking about it a little bit more. And also, I just really want to talk about him because LaMelo's been having just an amazing season. So far this year, LaMelo's averaging 25 points, 5.5 rebounds, over 8 assists, and 1.5 steals while shooting 44% from the field, 39% from 3, and 86% from the free throw line. In particular, in his last few games, he's been dominant. In his last 8 games so far this year, he is averaging 32 points, 6.5 rebounds, 8 assists, and 1.5 steals while shooting 50, 45, and almost 90, 89% from the free throw line. After his first 5 games of the year, it was not great. First 5 games, he wasn't shooting the ball super well. Didn't really look super healthy. Wasn't really being aggressive as well either. In his first 5 games of the season, he averaged just 14, 4, and 8 on 29% shooting and 27% from 3. But now he's finally starting to get together. He's had a lot of 30-point games. He's had 6 30-point games in the last 8 that he has played. He's had double-digit assists a few times, had a triple-double in there. He's shot. The worst game he had shooting in the last 6 was against Miami, which is one of the toughest defenses, but since then he's shooting 11 for 23, 13 for 22, 13 for 20, 12 for 28, 12 for 22, 15 for 27, and an overtime win against Boston the other day as well. He's been amazing, and I feel like during the offseason I said it a little bit, but also people kind of forget how great LaMelo Ball is because last season he only played in 36 games due to injury, and he also plays for the Charlotte Hornets, who are not a good team at all. They're 4-9 right now as I'm recording this, and yeah, but LaMelo has been playing like an all-star, maybe a little bit more of an all-star level. Like right now, I feel like if I had to vote for the all-star game, I would have to consider him. I had to put him in, even though his team is not great, obviously, and they're not gonna be good this season. So I don't know if I see him making an all-star team just because his team is not good. But if LaMelo keeps playing at this level, it's gonna be hard not to put him on the list for the all-star game. I mean, he's a player super good. He's been really the one thing. Him and Brandon Miller really have been the only things that made me want to watch any Charlotte Hornet basketball at all, which still I don't watch that many Charlotte Hornet games. But LaMelo Ball has been the reason why to watch. He's their star. They're gonna try to keep him around as long as possible, obviously, because you see what he does when he's on the court. When he's on the court and playing, he is a star. He's a baller. All right, now off the star players and stuff like that, now we're going more into the underrated guys. And number 2 player I have is Lonnie Walker of the Brooklyn Nets. Walker, I think, is having a really, really good season. He's averaging career high right now in points per game, rebounds per game, field goal percentage, and 3-point percentage. He's averaging over 16.5 points per game with 3 rebounds and 2 assists while shooting 51% from the field and 45% from 3. And he's taking the most amount of shots per game in his career while shooting the best of his career. Shooting his most field goal attempts he's ever taken this season, most 3-point attempts per game in the season, taking almost 6 threes, 12 shots, and he's shooting 51%, 45%. He's been very, very good for Brooklyn, and he went to a team that needed him. He was a former first-round pick at San Antonio. He had some moments, but just couldn't really figure it out at San Antonio. Last year was with the Lakers, and he had some good moments, but also he got benched late in the season, and so he went to Brooklyn on a minimum contract, and he's been playing amazing. He went to a team in Brooklyn that, again, doesn't really have a lot of offensive shot creators, doesn't have a lot of, guys that can give the ball to and just say, hey, go get a bucket. Lonnie Walker's turning into that guy, especially when Cam Thomas has gone out due to an injury. Lonnie Walker's last few games has been like their leading guy. He's had 20 in 3 of the last 5 games. He's been efficient as well on it too, of course. And if he can keep playing like this the rest of the year, he can definitely get a good contract next year and find a role and stick to it. I think this is a perfect role for him right now in Brooklyn. Being that 6th man, come off the bench and bring some buckets. That Jordan Clarkson, Malik Monk, that type role. It's a very valuable role. If you can find a consistent guy that can that can do that for you off the bench, that's great. Especially if, early in the game, shots aren't falling, just say, hey, Lonnie, come in. We need you to get some buckets, and he can do that. And yeah, he's been doing an amazing job at it so far this year. And I hope he keeps it up, man. I've been a fan of Lonnie Walker. I hope he keeps it up and hope he finds a role and finds a good contract, because Lonnie Walker can ball, man. It's just really trying to find what role he fits in and what place he can call home. Guy number 3 I have on here is Duncan Robinson. Robinson, so far this season, he's averaging career high in points per game, career high in assists per game, career high in field goal percentage. As well, he's averaging over 15 points with 2 rebounds and 2 assists, while shooting 48% from the field, 43% from 3, 90% from the free throw line. He's also taking the most shots of his career. He's averaging 11 field goal attempts per game, 7.43 points. That's actually low for him. And he's also averaging the most amount of free throw attempts per game with only 1.4, but still. But Duncan Robinson, of course, the numbers look a little bit better, but it's not even just looking at the box score and be like, oh, Duncan Robinson's putting up 20 points, because he is putting up 20 points. He's had 20 in 3 of the last 5 games. But it's just when you watch him on the court, you could tell he put in a lot of work this offseason. You could tell he got a lot better. Last year, he only played in 42 games after getting the big contract a few years ago. The shot wasn't really falling. He didn't look the same. Then the playoffs, he came out, had some good moments, and now he's trying to stick in that rotation. They know he's a big piece of this team because, again, he don't have a lot of shot creation, offensive firepower. And so Duncan Robinson getting better is big for them. And especially since Tyler Hero has gone out with the injury, Duncan Robinson has been very, very good. He's been one of their leading scorers the past few games. He's been, not just standing behind, because usually if you look at his shots and look at his stuff, like 90% of his shots are threes, which makes sense. It should be like that. He's an elite 3-point shooter. But this year, it's not like that. He's taking 11 shots per game. Only 7 of them are threes. And he looks a lot more comfortable putting the ball on the floor. He's been getting to the rim a little bit more, playmaking a little bit for others, that pump fake, drive to the rim, and hand off to Bam or something, or drive to the rim, get a layup, get to the free throw line. Like, you could tell he's got better. If you watch Miami Heat games, you watch Duncan Robinson, you're like, oh, okay, Duncan Robinson's not just like a spot-up shooter anymore. He can dribble the ball a little bit, put the ball on the floor. I'm not saying he's elite at it yet, obviously, but him being able to do that, just brings more offense to this Miami Heat team that desperately needs it. So, yeah, Duncan has been in the lab, man. Duncan is playing really good right now. Guy number 4 is a guy that I've talked about a lot already. I actually made a whole video about him, but he's gotten even better, so I gotta talk about more. Jaylen Johnson of the Atlanta Hawks. I made a video about him a few days ago, or a few weeks ago. Everyday evals, go back and watch it. I'll put a card up here somewhere. But I talked about Jaylen Johnson, saying how he's breaking out for the Atlanta Hawks. Even in the offseason, I did a video talking about a breakout candidate from every team, which you go back and watch that as well. And for the Hawks, I picked Jaylen Johnson. And so far, he's been that guy and even more, man. He's been having an amazing season. He's improved everywhere. Last season, he played in 70 games. He averaged 5 points, 4 rebounds, and an assist. Shot 49% from the field, 28% from 3, 62% from the free throw line, and only played in 15 minutes per game. This season, he's playing 30 minutes a game. So far in 12 games, he's started in 9 of them, which is more than he already did the entire first 2 years of his career. He's averaging 15 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, a block, and almost a steal per game, while shooting 60% from the field and 44% from 3 and 73% from the free throw line. He's taking a jump statistically everywhere that you can take a jump. He's taking a jump. He's done that. And he's just been a huge piece of this Atlanta Hawks team. He's been bringing a lot of energy, doing a lot of little things as well for this Hawks team. A lot more comfortable offensively. We know about his athleticism. He can jump with the best of them. But his ability to get to the rim and finish around the rim, shooting 60% from the field, has been really good. But also his 3-point shot is taking a big jump as well. He had a game against the Knicks where he was 4 for 4 from 3. He's shooting 44%. He's only taking a little bit less than 3 per game, but still having the confidence and being able to go out there and hit that shot even is huge. And he can do a lot of other things. He can rebound the ball well. He can handle the ball well. He's kind of like a point forward-ish, makes the right passes. He's not going to be like a 9 or 10 assists per game guy, obviously, but he's a guy that can make the good play, make a right play when you need him to. Defensively as well, he's very versatile, being 6'9", forward that has length, that is athletic enough to guard multiple different positions. He's a huge piece of this Atlanta Hawks team, and the Hawks, they're an average team, obviously, but Jaylen Johnson, I feel like it's just a really big piece, surprisingly, to this team. He's been a reason to watch the Hawks because he has a lot of great plays and makes them better as a team. Him being in the starting lineup has been a lot better as well for Atlanta. And if you can keep this up, man, that money this offseason is going to be crazy. But no, he's a young piece of this Hawks team that they need him to be like this, especially with John Collins leaving, and he's answered the call and a lot more. And he's still only 21 years old. Still has so much time left to grow. So yeah, bright things for Jaylen Johnson in his future. And the final guy we're talking about, guy number 5, is Aaron Nesmith of the Indiana Pacers. Surprisingly, all 5 of these guys are in the East. I didn't plan on that. I swear I didn't plan that. I just happened to be that way. But Aaron Nesmith, the Pacers have been a surprise in the league right now. They're one of the better offenses, if not the best offense in the league right now. Their bench is one of the best in the league, and Aaron Nesmith is a big part of that bench and why they're one of the best. Nesmith so far this season, he's averaging career high in points per game, shooting a career high from the field from 3. He's averaging 10 points, 3 rebounds, and assists, shooting 50% from the field, 46% from 3, only 63% from the free throw line, which is very weird because he's a shooter. So I don't know why he's only shooting 63%. That's weird. But especially for his career before that, he was like an 80-something% shooter. I don't know what that is about. But Aaron Nesmith has been a huge jolt to this Indiana Pacers team off the bench. In the offseason, right before the season started, he got a contract extension. That was big, and he's proving it right now. He's a former first-round pick out of Vanderbilt by the Celtics in his first 2 years in Boston. Just didn't really find a role for this team. He was, of course, the Celtics were a team trying to compete for a championship, and at that point, they weren't really worried about developing young players, so Aaron Nesmith kind of got left on the bench. He got traded 2 years ago in the Malcolm Brogdon trade to Indiana. Last year in Indiana, he played 73 games, had some moments, but this year, I feel like he's taking even a bigger jump. Even though the stats don't look crazy from last year to this year, they look almost the same-ish. The shooting is a lot better, but the numbers, like the points are about the same. Rebounds actually went down. Assists went down. But you could just, watching him play, you could tell he got better. I think he got bigger. The Pacers are a small team. They haven't played the power forward a lot, but it actually works. He's only like 6'4", or 6'5", actually, but he's like, he can play the power forward. He's athletic enough to, get to the rim. He dunked on some people. Of course, he came into the NBA as a shooter. He was an elite shooter in college at Vanderbilt. And so far, he's doing that. But he's not afraid to put the ball on the floor, get to the rim and stuff. Rebounding as well. He has a lot of energy. He's down there. Even though he's not the biggest guy, obviously, he's down there with the boards, fighting with the bigs. He's not afraid to guard bigger people. It's been impressive what Aaron Nesmith has been doing. And this Pacer team has been very, very good. One of the funnest teams to watch. One of the best offenses. And their bench is one of the best because Aaron Nesmith has found a role for himself. And if he can keep playing this, he can maybe stay in that role for a little while. And stay in Indiana for a little while, play that role. It's very surprising to me that he could play this role and how well he's been playing so far this season. But hey, man, shout out to him. Former first-round pick, kind of stuffed on the bench the first few years, but, found a way to a team and found a way to prove himself and actually play a role on a team. But yeah, it's going to be it for today. I had a lot of guys, honestly, that was on the list, but unfortunately, I picked 5. If you have any guys that you think are having very underrated seasons and I didn't talk about, put them in the comments. I'm very happy to read them and see, who you guys think are having a good season, because there's a lot of guys having really underrated seasons. But these are the 5 that just really, really stuck out to me that I feel like I had to talk about. But yeah, thank you guys again for watching. If you do like the content, consider subscribing, turn notifications, also like that. I really appreciate it. We have said a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.